everyone, Ashron here, and normally when you see a video like this, it's in the oil field, but this isn't. This is what I've been listening to while working today, my thoughts and reactions to it, and that is this whole Haslab, Spirit of Vengeance, Car Vengeance, whatever, Ghost Rider funding project. Now, I'm going to go on the record and say they are absolutely insane for that price. Would I like the Hell Charger? I guess. Go with my Ghost Rider and bike. But I wasn't that big a fan of the Ghost Rider and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The only Ghost Rider I've ever really read was when he crossed over with like the X-Men or Spider-Man or the Avengers in the 80s and 90s. I'm familiar with the character. I know the backstory of it. I've seen the Nicolas Cage movies, which I think are great. But do I want a Ghost Rider that does not have a motorcycle? Not really. And I've been watching 3PA podcast. It kind of popped up in my feed today, and I'm like, oh, they're talking about the whole Haslab thing and this silly car. And one of the reasons I would have got it was for the human form of Reyes. But here's the thing. That tier, gone. And watched it, and then got suggested action figure ninja, articulated ninja. Got suggested his video, and I watched a couple of his talking about it. And I actually debated on making this. The reason why I say I debated on it is the whole, everything they said I agree with. I only have ever wanted to back 3 Haslab projects. That was Unicron, the Sentinel, and his tank. The Sentinel I did back, but when it came time to pay, another payment went through first, and it was short 2 cents, and I missed out on it. That annoyed me. Onto his tank, that was just simply one of my bosses didn't pay me in a specific time frame, and I lost out on it. Oh well. The real reason I wanted it was somewhere to put Cobra troops and gear in, accessories, and that's generally why you want a play set or a vehicle with storage, is to keep all the extra stuff in. I use little clear index card holders right now, and I once jokingly said to a buddy of mine about Titan's Return, I'm going to 3D print me these stands that'll have wires and stuff I can attach to them and plug the heads in like they've been ripped off the bodies of the ripped off their bodies and put on display. Wouldn't really work too well for the Autobot side, but be perfect for the Decepticons. And that's how I want to display my Titan Masters, or what I would call Headmasters, because that's what they used to be. But that's a tangent. Let's get back on subject here. $350 for a car. Hasbro, do you realize that I can go and buy a $350 20-year-old beater to drive around town in? A real car. Not a plastic thing that is fancy, big accessory for my figures. And speaking of price, this is something I've given a lot of thought to, and those of you who have been wondering why I haven't had any content on the channel lately has been trying to decide how I want to do this going forward. And I think I might just start going back into my backlog and save some of my other reviews that are mint in box still for a later date. Kind of spread them out a bit, and like I did with the Turtles, because I think I'm done with Black Series with Marvel Legends. G.I. Joe Classified, I never really got much into. I just wanted the characters I wanted, which is the core cast. That's it. I just need to get some Cobra people now. A good Cobra commander would be great. I want to get Serpentor. But Destro, somehow I keep forgetting to order that one. And you know, maybe the Dreadnoks once they're all released. I got them pre-ordered on Amazon for all the Dreadnoks, and then trace down the Zartan. But for my Joes, I pretty much have everybody I want. Duke, Flint, Scarlet, Lady J, Snake Eyes, even though he didn't have his swords. Spirit. Now, when they come out with Shipwreck, I'll get him. I've got a Roadblock somewhere. I think it's in my 2 review stash, along with Storm Shadow and a Cobra Trooper. But, you know, G.I. Joe is finite for me. There's only specific characters I want to get, and I only want like one version. Ignore the fact that I bought every single thing of Scarlet they've made, but she's one of my favorite characters. Oh, and I got Baroness. So, and I didn't get her with her bike because I couldn't afford it at the time, and they didn't tell us they would be reissuing classifieds on retro card backs. Should have seen it coming, but didn't think about it. And I was able to get my hands on her for about $50 off eBay. No bike, but just her and her accessories, and that's all I really cared about. Because most of the time, you're really not going to display your figures in a static pose. At least I don't. Most of the time, mine are standing there. I try to put some in action poses, but until I had the time to build the backdrops and specific settings I want them in, I just have them stand there on display. Like, the most unique thing I have is the old Build-A-Figure Sentinel with his tentacle raising Jubilee up off the ground, because I'm reenacting the scene from the animated series. For Marvel Legends wise, I want to get just a few more of the retro Spider-Man figures. Want to get a good Spider-Man that's not the armored one, or Ben Reilly, or the 2099, which I definitely want that one. But, you know, just a good McFarlane-esque Spider-Man. And unfortunately, since I missed out on the first wave retros, he's prohibitively expensive. Pizza Spider-Man is prohibitively expensive. But the Spinneret Spider-Man 2-pack, Renew Your Vows, I was all for grabbing that. Not for the Mary Jane figure in it, because I have a Mary Jane. And the head sculpt that's in there, unmasked one, is, I believe, the exact same one that came with Gwen Stacy. Would I like a different body to put Mary Jane on? Yeah. It looks kind of weird with her and Gwen wearing the exact same thing. But I do have a Mary Jane in my collection, and that's good enough for me for now. Now, and that Spider-Man's what I really want. And I want that Peter Parker comic book head sculpt. I will not pay $70 some odd for it. that is stupid. And especially since I cannot see. Like, if I'm going to pay $70 for 2 action figures, those decos had better be spotless. Because the worst feeling in the world when you pay an exuberant amount of money for something. And to me, a plastic action figure in the 6-inch scale made for mass retail that's over $20 is an exuberant price. 25 is about my breaking point on a lot of these. I'll just wait till they go on clearance. I did that with Power Rangers. But when you sit there and say it's because of cost and it's for the environment, but yet you're using more cardboard and you're not doing anything to assuage the fears of the customer that they're actually buying what they're getting in a blind box. Because that's what they are. They're blind boxes. The pictures don't mean shit. There's too many people that scam, that will buy the figure at retail, turn around, throw some junk inside of there, and then take it back and return it because 90% of your retail employees aren't paid enough to care. And even if they are, they probably don't collect action figures. They don't know what's going on. Funniest story in the world, one of my favorite jobs I had that was non-oil field related was working at Toys R Us. Because I'm a collector. And because of that, I know things to tell people what to look for when they're coming out, what assortment they are, when our trucks would come in. And I'd actually go in the back room and look for the figures. And I wasn't the type of collector that when I put something on the shelf, that I'd go, ooh, look, that's that one to the pack. I need that one. I don't have it. Or that one's worth $200. I'm going to grab it. No, I'll put it on the shelf. Because you got to have ethics. And you got to have morality. And you're being paid to stock the shelves, not pad your wallet. Not in that way, anyway. Because as a collector, these scalpers who go in when the store opens and buy up every last thing they can get their hands on were the bane of my existence. And they still are. Especially in Transformers right now. But, you look at that and you're like, okay, you got this $350 car for Haslab. Then they throw out the carrot of, if it reaches, 11,000 backers, you get a Mephisto. Well, shit. If I was a Ghost Rider fan, I'd be very tempted by that. Especially if the second tier is Blackheart. Because what you got to do is you got to get the customers interested in it based on what else it comes with. Now, I know that goes against what Retro Blasting and Articulated Ninja and them say. But from a company point of view, they know what they're going to be putting out. They know what the tiers are. And it's like one of the shields that Articulated Ninja was talking about. Said that, they know this ahead of time. Well, of course they do. That's how they set the price. They're not going to take a loss on something. And you're definitely not getting a damn thing for free. I actually see that point of view. As a business person, as a contractor, when I bid a job, I'm including all of the extra stuff that I may or may not have to do, but I'm familiar with my work well enough to see and foresee what could go wrong and why it could take longer. And generally, the contract will pay on what I bid. And a lot of times, it's right on the money. But sometimes, I may have overcharged by $50. But they're just happy to get their well back going. Other times, I may have underbid myself, shot myself in the foot, but I got to work that I normally wouldn't have had. So that's how I look at it. It's the only way you can look at it. Hasbro seems to think they can get 9,000 people with modern economy to be able to have $350 they don't care about. And especially since a lot of people, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say a significant portion of the people who back Haslab products probably buy all of them. I really wanted the Proton Pack. Couldn't afford it. Especially since you'd have to buy the Neutron wand as an add-on. So, you know, I really wanted it, but I couldn't afford it. But is it worth equal to or more than the car? Oh, hell yeah. One, it's a prop replica. Two, it's authentic to the movies. Three, I could put the damn thing on and wear it as part of the costume for Halloween or going to a convention. I actually can use it. And that is the biggest distinction on something like the Proton Pack versus an 18-inch long car for a 6-inch figure. And when I was asked what I would have preferred to see as a Haslab this year for Hasbro, I was like, anything but what they gave us. Personally, I would like another shot of the Sentinel, because I'd want more than one. But I will probably end up with the one aftermarket one I eventually get my hands on. And I would have much rather seen Fin Fang Foom. Or, God, anything else. The Fantastic Car would make more sense. I mean, we just got the retro Fantastic Four. How cool would it have been to get the Fantastic Car for him also? Did they not think about that? So you'd have a Walmart exclusive set of Fantastic Four figures that came out earlier this year. Or end of last year. Around there somewhere. So you got that. So you follow it up with the Fantastic Car. And you could add Herbie and, you know, maybe Franklin Richards. Or Valeria Richards, his sister. You could add them as tier unlocks. And that's another thing I agree with them on. The tier unlocks are stupid. Just announce all of it. Tell us what we're getting. Because, I mean, I was a last minute onto his tank. Because I didn't want to lose out on it when they released what the final thing was, being a classic Cobra Commander. I was like, oh, you kidding? That's what I want. So, I mean, I want a tank anyway, but the Cobra Commander was what pushed it over the top for me, because I had to collect on a budget. When I buy figures, I pretty much only get to buy them once a month. And this is going to go back to the cost thing. Why is that car so much? Why are Marvel Legends, that now you cannot see the packaging on, to verify the quality of the figure, why are they so much more expensive now? And I'm going to bring up a point, I haven't heard anyone else say this, and it started with Transformers. Transformers has a third-party community. And for those of you watching who don't know what third-party is, third-party are unofficial, unlicensed figures made by Chinese or Taiwanese or whatever companies, mostly they're China. They make these figures. They do Masterpiece, they do Chug, they do a Universe scale, they do Legend scale. But they're a premium price. And a lot of the figures are ones that Hasbro and Takara will probably never make until they do. Shockwave, I'm looking at you. Do I have Masterpiece Shockwave? No. I've got the third-party Quakewave. Why? I liked it better. And I didn't know that they were going to make Shockwave. Shockwave came out several years after the fact. Are they going to make a blaster to go with Soundwave? Doubtful. But I got the EVI Metal Keith's Fantasy Club blaster as my masterpiece blaster, and also it's a great looking figure. And what I'm saying here is that when you buy a third party product, you're paying a premium for what is an unlicensed thing. And not even going to go into knockoff territory, but just for third party, you're paying a premium for it. Then you got these ultimates that Super 7 and NECA started doing, putting them at the $30, $40, $50 price points. I am hyped to get my hands on some Volivers. Volivers, I think, are less than $40 a figure. I think it's like 32 something. But you get the figure, you get a buttload of accessories, multiple hand options, and a display stand. And the reason why I would justify the price of a Voliverse figure versus a Hasbro figure is accessory count, quality of paint, and I know that is a very small company doing something independently to create something new. Their costs are much higher, and each of us as customers, we share a burden of that cost. I'm cool with that. I understand it. It's the same principle of third-party Transformers. Now, how does this loop around back to Hasbro Transformers? Well, their prices started going up first. And then their exclusives were priced higher and harder to get, to be perfectly honest. Why then is all of a sudden your basic retail distribution figures, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Marvel Legends, McFarlane, all of them, why are they starting to inch up closer and closer to that $40, $50 range USD? Because they want to make the money. They want to inflate their prices because they want you to buy their products, not the little man's products, not the third party. Well, they'd love to shut down third party. But they see the money being made in the market that those companies give you, and they want a piece of that pie. So, and they're seeing that NECA and Super 7 can no problem sell $50 6-inch, 7-inch tall action figures. Hell, Ramen Toys is selling their Silverhawks at $90 some odd a figure. I was going to get them, and I'm like, you know what? Not for that price. Because I justify it by how much can I spend and the value of what I'm getting. Do I get enough accessories? Is it a limited edition type deal? That's something that makes it truly special. Like, let's say Super 7 bumped it up to $75 a Silverhawk, but gave us chrome plating on all the figures. I think I'd do it. Or metal die-cast bodies. I mean, they're partly metal, partly real. Makes sense. Be cool. Make the birds magnetic, or they can sit on them and everything. Those concepts. And also, I am fully aware that Silverhawks is a niche brand and it's going to have a premium price. That comes to the more you can make, the cheaper the product can be produced for. So, you know, as a Star Trek collector too, and I'll expand on that in a minute, I completely understand the difference in pricing models for something that is a wide market appeal compared to a niche appeal. The problem with the current Haslab is it's extremely niche. You're talking about a character that's not even been out 10 years. to celebrate 50 years of something completely different. Because I'm not 100% sure, but there's something different about Danny's Ghost Rider. That catches Ghost Rider than there was to any of the other incarnations. And I really can't be caring enough to go look what it is, but there's a specific aspect different in it, which is why he looks different and blah blah blah. And there's also, him and Ghost Rider running around at the same time, I think. But aside from that, I just spent about $350 on something Star Trek. Bought 2 items. Well, technically 3. The photo etch was $45. I got the light kit and the TOS 350 scale Enterprise. I have never built anything in that scale before. I already owned a 350 Enterprise refit, but that kit takes skills that either I haven't used in 30 years and painting skills that are non-existent for me right now. I am working on it. I learned how to airbrush. So, that is a project for much later. The TOS Enterprise, though, is a simple kit. Straightforward. Nothing fancy about it outside of the Bizarre collectors. $350 for all I needed for it. Thank you, Amazon, for having it on sale. Yes, I have to build it. Yes, I have to paint it. Yes, I have to put parts in it for it to light up.
And for you, it's yada, yada, yada.
However,
I'm not surprised about that. You probably don't care, and based on your comment section,
when
but for me, it's not yada, yada, yada.
you compare $350 to a scale replica of the filming model of the Starship Enterprise to that Haslab, there is no comparison. I don't care if you throw 10 figures into it and 2 of them are giant figures, or what would normally be a Build-A-Figure. I don't care. It's not worth it. A Build-A-Figure should be $50. A standard 6-inch should be $20, and a deluxe 6-inch should be $30, $35, depending on the type of deluxe it is. And then your multi-pack should be multiples based on the base figures, but subtract like $5 to make it a better value. That's why I got the Buzzworthy Bumblebee collection, because I couldn't get a Bumblebee that was the bug for cheaper than what that collection cost. So to me, it was a better value to get the collection, and it gives me Gold Bug, which is, a different version of Bumblebee, and it got me Ransack. The other 2 figures, I could care less about. But my buddy really wants them. So at some point, I'm going to mail them to him and say, here you go. I don't really care about these. I have the other versions. I have the stuff that was on screen. That's all I want to collect Beast Wars wise, aside from 1 or 2 really cool ones. Wolfbane. Modern version of him is cool. But what I'm saying is that there is a lot to be said about the greed of Hasbro, the lack of quality control, the 0 fucks they give about the collector. Because they all know that the collector is the one that looks at those paint jobs, that looks at those decos, that makes sure that they get the best looking figure they can get for the price they're spending on them. a blind box, not a windowless box, which if you see my Transformers reviews here lately, you know what I'm talking about on those. Just minimal plastic. Put them in a box with a small window where you can look in and see it. I've seen Japanese packaging. They got a little strip there. Just plastic on top and on the bottom where you can look down or light can shine through. You look through it, you can take a look at that deco and see if it's okay. What's the problem in doing that? But anyway, these are my thoughts. This is the road Haslab is going to go down. I don't care to ever see another one. The idea that just a simple car, flashing LEDs, I don't care. I can go to Dollar Tree, buy a light kit for less than $5 and light it up myself. I don't need to spend a premium price for something that takes me less than $10 to do. So, and let's not forget 3D printing is a thing. So with that being said, this has been Astron. These were my thoughts on just general what's been going on in the collecting community here lately. This egregious Haslab offering for Marvel. Nah. And yeah. So as usual, take care of yourselves. Be good to each other and treat everyone the way you wish to be treated, and always try to learn more than you did the day before. Be better than you were the day before. You strive for that, you ain't got no problems. This is Astron saying, see you later.